Hello LEGO fans, welcome back to LEGO 48. It's been a while since my last video when I was just getting ready for BrickWorld Chicago. Now it's mid-November and I'm finally winding down after show season. Between BrickWorld Chicago and then BrickFair Virginia, it's been a really grueling couple of months, and I followed those up with a GBC display at the Smithsonian Museum's Halloween Air and Scare event. As busy as the summer and fall have been, I had a really great time at all of these shows, and I've learned a lot. Now it's time to do some videos to share what I've learned, and I have several topics planned. In this video, I want to talk about my experiences at BrickWorld and BrickFair, and some of the things that I learned. That will set us up for the next video, where I'll talk about some of the building techniques and concepts that I picked up. In future videos, I want to explore ball pumps, one of the more common lifting mechanisms in use, and then I plan to explore some alternatives to ball pumps. At some point, I also intend to talk about the electric switch boxes that I designed and built to power my motors. Right now, let's talk about my first show, BrickWorld Chicago. I can still remember walking into the convention hall and seeing all of the LEGO creations. I had seen videos from previous conventions, but those had all been focused on GBCs, so I kind of had this perception that GBCs were the main focus of the show. Boy, was I wrong. GBCs are just a small part of BrickWorld. So small, in fact, that often I would be talking with someone there who didn't even know what a GBC was. The next thing that struck me was the dizzying variation in LEGO creations, from trains and cityscapes to space installations, sci-fi, LEGO paintings, sculptures, and a wide variety of MOCs. Walking through the convention hall, I had an epiphany. The world of adult LEGO building has many different disciplines or genres, just like the world of art. And then I realized that adult LEGO building actually is an art form. I started building GBCs because I enjoyed the engineering challenges. I certainly never thought of myself as an artist. But in that moment, I thought about all of the building and design decisions that I've made for purely aesthetic reasons. For instance, the vertical S-curve lifter can be implemented with either tri-bar rotors or straight bars. With the tri-bars, I feed a ball into every other gap, giving me an average of 1.5 balls per rotation. This means that the rotors have to turn at 40 RPM in order to achieve 60 balls per minute, or 1 ball per second. I could have loaded a ball into every slot, but then I would have to drop the rotation speed to 20 RPM, which completely changes the look of the balls moving through the lifter. If I use straight bars, I rotate at 30 RPM and lift a ball on each bar sweep. This also looks different. Running the tri-bars at 40 RPM is certainly the most difficult and challenging approach, but I like that look the best, so it's worth the effort, and it's the look that I want for my creation. Before I signed up to be an exhibitor at BrickWorld or at BrickFair, I really thought about what I was going to bring. I felt that anything I brought had to be visually compelling. If members of the public are going to pay money to come in and see all of our LEGO creations, then I feel an obligation to bring something people will want to stop and look at. When I look at it that way, I guess I am an artist after all, creating kinetic pieces using LEGO bricks as my medium. This was a huge insight, and it was still only Thursday morning. On Friday, I took time to build the GBC workshop module. I had 2 kits with me, and I shared one with a teenager there. We had fun building them, and when we were done, he commented on how cool it would be if we could have the 2 modules feeding each other in a continuous loop. I pulled out a bag of spare parts and told him to have at it and see what he could come up with. Turns out, what he came up with was a brilliantly elegant hook attachment that would cause the outfeed to dump out to the side. After fitting these to both modules, we were able to create our own GBC mini loop. Friday night, they did the World of Lights, which was very cool. They completely darkened the convention center, so all of the illumination came from Lego builds that were lit up.
Yep. It was like this with this entire part. Yeah.
On Saturday and Sunday, I helped monitor the GBC so we could entertain the public. One thing that I wasn't prepared for was the high failure rate of GBC modules under show conditions. Several modules had to be pulled over the course of the weekend, and we ended up filling those gaps with the 2 workshop modules. I've now learned to always bring some small reliable modules as spares for when, not if, something fails. My modules had their own reliability issues, and I had to monitor them continuously to keep them running. The S-curve lifter kept losing the drive gear until I reinforced the motor assembly. I gotta tell you, there's nothing quite as exciting as working on a GBC module while it's running. Once I resolved the motor issues, I still had to deal with the ball feed jamming all weekend. Yep, that random arrival problem that I mentioned in episode 9. For the most part, the spacer worked fine, but there was enough variability in the GBC balls affecting how long it took for balls to get from the spacer to the first rotor. And balls that were either too fast or a little too slow would get caught under the spinner arm. That's an issue that I still need to resolve before next year. On the plus side, while wandering around the show space, I got to see a lot of really cool builds. The reverse river was one of my favorites. I'm going to stop here. In my next video, I'll talk about all the new things I learned about building GBCs.